Hello and welcome to another class with Ron Kustrup. Today we're going to go over Cubist Still Life. That's the next project, and it builds directly off of the previous project. In the previous project, you created a still lifes. So what you did was you set an object down and you drew it, and you looked at it from a different angle and drew it from that angle. Well, what you did was you created multiple still lifes, and that's your traditional approach. Um, in the late 1800s, this artist Cezanne started changing the idea of still lives, um, kind of in a rebellious way. Basically, what happened was instead of drawing a still life from one point of view, he would like start drawing it from one point of view, then stand up from a slightly different point of view and continue drawing it, and then maybe sit down again and continue drawing it so it'd be from just a slightly different view. It was very subtle. So you can see in these pieces how some things look like they're floating, like the image all the way to the right. See how that plate looks like it's floating a little bit? It's because he wasn't following the rules of um, working with still lifes. He wasn't looking at it from one angle, like you did, and then another angle. He looked at it from multiple angles on one composition. So what that led to was an artist named Picasso got inspired by that and really went really far with it. So he would draw objects from many different points of view and then kind of connect them with his imagination. And what it ended up happening was it began looking like this. This is what's technically considered synthetic cubism, and this is what you're going to be creating. So you're going to be choosing a few objects, putting them on a table maybe, and then just drawing them in this style. So you're going to look at them from different points of view, but then overlap them, right? Not draw them separately like you did previously, but this time kind of overlap them. See how the image on the left, the perspective is zoomed into the guitar, and then in some ways it's also zoomed out. You see the grapes, how they're really, really large. Well, those grapes, if it was a realistic artwork, they wouldn't be that large. So be ready to make things larger and smaller and kind of warp things. Again, on the right, that violin, see that grain? That is just very, very zoomed in to the violin. Another thing to mention about these two pieces is they're in the style of Robert Rauschenberg and Roy Lichtenstein, that pop kind of style where you can see the difference between this. This is more of a traditional, what we're looking for approach of Cubism, where it's just kind of like, again, objects layered, but feel free to move color around. Again, here's two examples of Cubism again. This is what you're doing. You're creating um, objects in the style of Cubism. The one on the left is not nearly as successful as the one on the right. The one on the right is so much more successful because it takes a lot longer to decipher, and it's more kind of um, abstracted, which is a good thing in this style. The more you can pull the image apart, the better. The more constrained in realism it is, I would say the less successful of Cubism the work is. Okay? Feel free to message me if you have any questions.